Guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, we'll be drafting out this very simple stylish blouse. If you're interested, keep on watching and let's get started. I already went ahead to fold my pattern paper into two, and I'm going to start by taking my points. So the first point I'll take is the distance from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. I'll indicate that. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my under bust point, which is 13 inches. I'll indicate that. The next point is my waistline, with the distance from my shoulder to my waistline, which is 16 inches, and the length of my blouse will be 21 inches. After indicating all the dots, I'm going to go ahead and rule straight lines across all these points. So I said the distance from my shoulder to my bust point is 10 inches. Distance from my shoulder to my under bust point is 13 inches. Distance from my shoulder to my waist point is 16 inches. And my blouse length is 21 inches. I'm going to go ahead and label my lines. So I have the bust line, the under bust line, the waistline, and the top length. The next thing I will do is to take half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. The start of this pattern paper is serving as my shoulder line, so I'll mark the 8 inches, which is half of my shoulder measurement. On that point, I'm going to go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I'll slant from that point into the neckline area like this. The next thing I'll do is to place the same measurement that I have on the shoulder line, which is 8 inches. I'll make sure that I have the same 8 inches on the chest line. After doing that, I'll place my tape like this, and I'll go down by half of my round armhole measurement. My round armhole circumference is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches. I'm going to mark the 8 inches all the way. As you can see, this 8 inches is going to serve as my chest line. So another way you can get your chest line is to go up by 2 inches from your bust point. Is going to give you your chest line. What I'm going to do is to rule a straight line across the point, and I'm going to label this line my chest line. I'll place my tape on the chest line, and I'll mark the 8 inches, the same 8 inches that I have on the shoulder line. I'll mark it there. After doing that, I'll connect the two dots, the dots on the shoulder slope to meet the dots on the chest line, into a straight line, as you can see. The next thing I'll do is to take my neckline measurements. So for the neck width, I'll be taking 3 inches. I'll indicate 3 inches. And for the neck depth, I'm going to go down by 4 inches. So it depends on how open you want the neckline area to be, but 4 inches is okay for me. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the neck width to meet the neck depth like this. After doing that, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to place my tape on this straight line right here, and whatever I have, I'm going to divide into 2 equal halves. What I have here is 7 inches. Half of 7 inches is 3.5 inches. I will indicate the 3.5 inches. On that 3.5 inches dot, I'm going to come inward by half an inch. I'll also indicate the half an inch with a dot. On the chest line, I'm going to place my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 9 inches. I will indicate that. After doing that, I'm going to connect from the shoulder slope to meet the half an inch, and from that point to meet the dots that I have on the chest line like this. After doing that, I'm going to now use my marker to highlight all the marks that we will be needing for this tutorial. Okay, so I'll highlight the neckline area and the shoulder area and the armhole area. The next thing I'll do is to take half of my nipple to nipple measurement plus half an inch for stitching allowance. So half of my nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches, and I added half an inch to that measurement. So I'll take 4.5 inches on the bust line, on the under bust line, on the waistline, and on the top length. After doing that, I'm going to connect the 4 dots into a straight line. Next thing I'll do is to go down on the bust point by 1 inch. So I'll place my tape like this, and I'll go down by 1 inch. I'll indicate the 1 inch. on the waistline, I'm going to go out by 1 inch on both sides of this straight line. Okay, I'll take 1 inch on the center front. I'll also take 1 inch on the side front. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the 1 inch below the bust line to meet the waistline, and from there to meet the top length. So look at the way I'm doing it. I'll place my tape like this. I'll connect from the 1 inch dots to meet the 1 inch on the waistline like this. I repeat the same thing for the center front, and from there I'll connect to meet the top length like this. After taking in my darts, guys, this is what I have. On the bust line, sorry, on the chest line, I already have my bust circumference divided by 4. What I'll do is to add 1.5 inches to that measurement for my stitching allowance. On the under bust point, I'm going to place my under bust circumference divided by 4. I'll replace the dart that I have there, which is 1 inch, and then I'll add 1.5 inches as my stitching allowance. On the waistline, I'm going to place my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll replace the dart of 2 inches, and I'll add 1.5 inches as my stitching allowance. On the top length, I'm going to place my hip circumference divided by 4, and I'm going to add 1.5 inches for stitching allowance. After doing that, I'll connect the dots together like this. After connecting the dots, I'm going to highlight the top length like this and the sides, as you can see. So these are the parts that I'll be needing for this measurement. What I'll do is to place my tape on this dart leg. I'm trying to confirm the dart leg from the center front, and I'm going to extend from the top length by 6 inches. I'll go down by 6 inches. Okay, I'll go down by 6 inches, and I'll indicate the 6 inches mark, and I'll connect into a straight line. So I went down by 6 inches from my top length. On this other side, I'll go up by half an inch. As you can see, I'll go up by half an inch on the top length. Using my ruler, I'll connect from the half an inch to meet the 6 inches that I came down with, just like you see me doing. Okay, after doing that, this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut what I have out first before I work on the other part of this blouse. So I'm going to cut. Pay close attention so you know where to cut. I'll cut out the neckline, the shoulder area, the armhole, and the sides. So I'm going to open my pattern paper up. After doing that, I'm going to extend all my lines. So I'll extend the chest line, the bust line, the under bust line, the waistline, and the top length. I'll also go ahead and take in my dart for the other side. So guys, I've gone ahead to extend all my lines, and I've taken in my darts, and this is what I have. Like I said, I went down by 6 inches from my top length. What I'll do is to take 3 inches from that 6 inches. I'll place my tape on this straight line, and I'll mark 3 inches. I'll indicate that. I'm going to now connect from the 3 inches to meet the other side of my waistline like this. I'm going to insert a picture of this blouse on the screen. So we are trying to create that extension that we have on the front part of the top. After slanting the line to meet the other part of the waistline, this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to do is to extend my dart leg to meet the chest line. As you can see, I will extend it like this. After doing that, I'm going to place my tape on this armhole area, and I'll go down by 4 inches. So you can do 4 or 5 inches. For me, I'll be going down by 4.5 inches. I'll indicate the 4.5 inches with a dot. After doing that, I'm going to connect from the 4.5 inches to meet the dart leg in a curve. So look at the way I'm placing my ruler and I'm curving it to meet the dart leg. On this other side of the armhole area, I'm going to go down by 3 inches. As you can see, I also indicate the 3 inches with a dot. After doing that, I'm going to slant from the other end of the dart leg to meet the 3 inches mark. So I'm trying to create the yoke that you can see on the blouse. I'll connect like this. After connecting, I'll use my marker to highlight it. Okay, after doing that, guys, this is what I have. So the next thing I'll do is to extend the other dart leg to meet the yoke, just like you see me doing. After doing that, guys, we are going to go ahead and cut. So guys, I went ahead to cut out the dart first, and on this part is where we are going to be fixing the button that you can see on the blouse. Okay, after cutting out the dart, I'm going to continue cutting. I will extend my line from this dart leg to meet the yoke, and I'm going to continue cutting. I'll cut out the yoke and I'll cut out the sides, just like you see me doing. After cutting out, this is what we have. So we have our front pattern papers, we have the yoke, we have the side front, we have the center front, and we have another side front. So guys, these are the front piece. We are going to go ahead and work on the back. For the back, I already have my pattern paper. What I did was to take 1.5 inches as my zipper allowance. I'm going to label this line my zip. The next thing I'll do is to take half of my shoulder measurement. So I'm taking the measurement after my zipper allowance. I'm going to mark the 8 inches. On that 8 inches mark, I'm going to go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I'll slant from that point into the neckline area like this. The next thing I did was to take out my point. So the only point we need here is the distance from the shoulder to the chest line, distance from the shoulder to the waistline, and distance from the shoulder to the top length. Remember, my top length was 21 inches earlier, so I'm going to extend it on my fabric since my pattern paper is not long enough. Okay, I will extend it to 21 inches on my fabric. The extension that we added to the front part of this blouse, we don't need it for the back. The next thing I did was to take the same 8 inches that I have on the shoulder line. I took the same 8 inches on the chest line, and I'm connecting the two dots into a straight line like this. So this is what we did for the front. I'm going to place my tape on this straight line right here, and I'll divide what I have into two equal halves. What I have is 7 inches. Half of 7 inches is 3.5 inches. I indicated the 3.5 inches with a dot. On the chest line, I went ahead to place my bust circumference divided by 4, and I'm adding 1.5 inches to that measurement for my stitching allowance. After doing that, I'm going to connect from the 3.5 inches on the armhole area to meet the dots that we have on the chest line like this. The next thing I'm going to do is to take in my dart. To do that, I'm going to take half of my bust span measurement, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, divided by 2. For the front pattern, we added half an inch. For the back, we're not going to add half an inch because we are taking our normal dart here. So I'm just going to connect the 4 inches on the chest line to meet the 4 inches on the top length like this. The next thing I'm going to do is to go down by 16 inches, which is the distance from my shoulder to my waist point, and I'm going to rule a straight line across. So I'm going to label this line my waistline. After doing that, I'm going to take half an inch on both sides of this straight line. I'm taking the half an inch on the waistline. Remember, for the front we took 1 inch on the waistline. For the back, this is just a normal dart, so I'll be taking half an inch on both sides. I'll place my tape like this and I'll mark my bust point, which is 10 inches. That is where the dart for the front, sorry, the dart for the back is going to start from. It's starting from 10 inches. So I'm going to connect from the that point to meet the point that I have on the waistline like this. After taking in my darts, guys, this is what I have. The next thing I'll do is to start placing my measurements. So I already have my bust circumference divided by 4, and I added 1.5 inches for my stitching allowance. I already did that on the chest line. On the waistline, I'll place my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll replace the dart and I'll add 1.5 inches as my stitching allowance. On the top length, I'll take my hip circumference divided by 4 and I'll add 1.5 inches as my stitching allowance. After doing that, I'm going to connect all the dots like this, and this is what we have. Next thing I'll do is to take my neckline measurement. For the width, I'll be using 3 inches. This is what we did for the front, and for the depth I'll go down by 2 inches for the back. So don't forget that the neck width for both the front and the back should be the same, but the depth you can do any type of neckline that you want. After doing that, I'm going to connect using my pencil like this. After doing that, I'm going to adjust the zipper area. I have 1.5 inches as my zipper allowance. On the waistline, I took out half an inch from the 1.5 inches and I'm going to connect like this. I'm doing this to avoid zip bulge. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut. And yeah, guys, this is what I have after cutting. We also have our back pattern. On this other side, which is the side back, I'm going to go up by half an inch, just like we did for the front. I'll go up by half an inch and I'll slant it back into the waistline. Yeah, guys, that is all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like this video. Leave your questions in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.